which our auditor, Tom Cotter, will lead us in the pledge.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful to be gathered here to have this meeting this evening. Please bless us that we may be able to discuss the items on the agenda and the things that impact the citizens of the county, and that we may be directed as to the decisions that will be best for all those concerned. Please watch over those that serve us, especially our local law enforcement and fire personnel. Please bless them that they may be safe in their work, and we're thankful for all that they do for us. Please watch over our families as we're away tonight, and again, we're thankful to live in this wonderful area and to call it home and where we work. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
The audience will repeat with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Commissioner. Thanks, Tom. You guys get a chance to look over the September 16th minutes?
I did. I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes from September 16th, 2020.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see, do we have any former agenda items we need to discuss? You guys remember?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just that 41 coming off.
Okay. Mr. Scott, you want to give us any info on the latest COVID stuff?
No, I really don't.
Okay.
No. No, we've seen a pretty substantial uptick over the last month. We were trending around 40, 45 active cases towards the middle of September, and we've gradually increased. We're at 132 active cases right now. We were running between 0 and 3 new cases a day, and we've consistently been between 3 and 10 a day. So I think it coincides a little bit with going back to school and after the summer. But I mean, we're still okay. We're not swamped in the hospitals, but
So from what I understand, the percentages are basically the same though. So the percentage of people that are testing positive and how many people are being tested are the same.
we've actually went up substantially on number of positives.
Well, that's what I'm just saying, but yeah. But I don't know, Millet was telling me the percentages were basically the same
Yeah.
from a department standpoint.
But yeah, we do have a lot more active cases than we've had. We're not quite at our peak that we were in July, but we're really close. So,
All right. Thanks for sharing the info. Just wanted to make mention too, had the opportunity last week to go out to Park Valley and visit with some of the folks out there. We were looking at potentially putting in a restroom for them because of the issue that has been going on out there with no services. But the more we had that discussion with them, the more they started to realize that possibly doing this could create some adverse problems that they don't necessarily want to deal with. And so they're kind of rethinking that right now and letting us know. So, but I had a good visit with the folks out there. I just wanted to make mention of that.
We're hoping that this new signage from the Nevada border,
Yeah.
from Snowville and everything will start helping people realize that there's 90-mile gap between services, so.
Yeah. Yep. So, okay. Well, we'll go ahead and get moving on here to our request for county grounds. Roger Kelly.
It's actually Clint.
Which one is it
wait,
first?
I guess yeah, it's this one.
Okay.
Clint was first on mine.
It's your agenda,
For the commission tonight,
there we go.
You want to just speak into the mic and
Sit down.
state your name? Yeah, you can sit down there. State your name for the record.
this will be the third time I've asked this. Every year at this time, the 10th of October,
we have a public prayer session, and we'd like to have it on the steps of the building here on this Saturday on the 10th. It'll last about a half hour, 45 minutes, consist of some prayers and some religious music. And the purpose of the prayer is try to ask God to help this country get through what it's going through nowadays with all the robberies and the killing and all that stuff that's going on. So I asked the commissioners to let our organization do this one more year, as we've done the last 2 years.
Now, you're looking at both doing the county, let's see,
It's
just the steps of the courthouse, but there's 2 items on there?
There's two different
Yeah,
agenda items. Two different.
this one's 507, 505 is the other one.
Okay, because I have Roger Kelly on both of these, so that's why I was confused.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I know it sounds like a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we approve the request, the use of the steps for a day of prayer.
I'm sorry, can't hear.
I just said I make a motion that we approve the request for the day of prayer.
Thank you.
Was that October 10th?
Yeah, on
Okay.
October 10th.
What was the time frame? Is that in the evening, Mr. Kelly?
I'm sorry.
Is that in the evening? What time of day?
When is it?
What time?
Time,
It'll happen on this Saturday, the 10th,
What time?
at noon.
At noon?
Okay.
It'll
Very
last
good.
about a half hour, 45 minutes.
Okay, very good. I would second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks.
We're good to go.
Yep. Good deal.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
very much.
Yep. Okay, Clint Munns, I apologize for skipping over your item there, but they had the same name on both items here for me, so it got a little confusing.
Let's go.
Make sure you say who the good-looking guy in the mask is. I don't recognize him.
You know that I'm good looking. My name's Clint Munns from Garland. My co-partner with this fundraiser we've done is Scott Pella. 14 years ago, I had the opportunity to visit with Mr. Scott Humphrey, manager of the Bar J Wranglers. The valley up there is a Little League football field. It kept getting kicked around from place to place to place, and they needed a field that they could call their own. And so I approached them about helping raise money to build this football field, and they was graciously in favor of it, and they would come down and overwhelmingly success. And we've done it every year for different organizations, like the Box Elder 4-H, Little League football field was the main one. We even helped on the 100-year-old Garland anniversary library, to help raise money for books for the kids. So Scott and I have enjoyed doing this. It's a lot of work. We don't take anything out of it. All the money we raise, we pay the expenses and give it to the funders. Well, the high school, a lot of the kids are the recipients of the Bar J fundraiser, and so some of the things that the insurance and building fee and stuff, they've waived because the kids benefited from this concert. COBA came, and the school district, they didn't know what, they closed everything down. So we kind of told Scott that it didn't look like we was gonna have a show this year, and anyway, things led to another, and November 21st, Saturday was brought up, and we still had no commitment or working relations with the school district at the time he called me, so I visited with Commissioner Summers if it was possible to hold it out there at the fairgrounds. And he says to get a hold of Jan, and I went and talked to Jan, and so we've tentatively scheduled, Scott give you a poster, 21st of November 2020 for this benefit show. Where we was originally working with the Madsen Foundation LLC, which raises funds for seniors that go, you know, for scholarship funds, was gonna be our co-partner this year for the Bar J show. Moving out to the fairgrounds in the Special Event Center, we're gonna add a few more expenditures that we haven't had in the past. We're gonna, like I said, I went and talked to Jan. She informed me we needed an insurance policy, and I'm working on that. I think we've got that tied up. And then the building, $50 an hour rate for the use of the building, and anything else that, you know, that hasn't been discussed. I'm just wondering if, you know, if there's something that the county could help with this fundraiser, if they would, you know, could reduce that rate. We've got to bring in lights for the production of the show, and I've got that lined up. So, I mean, it's just, COLA's got everybody tied up and tied down. The last 2 weeks, a lot of people's been calling and wanting them to come back into town, and so the Bar J's agreed to come in if it's gonna work out. So that's kind of what we've done the last 13 years, and like I said, it's something that everybody's looked forward to. A lot of the people that used to drive to Jackson every year to go see them have kind of counted on the show there in the valley for them to have a good entertainment night show. And so I guess I'm here to see if there's something that the county could help us with the show so that it could be another success.
How many hours did you think it was going to be?
Jan and I talked from the time we entered in to set up, because she says I'll be in charge of setting up the chairs on the floor. From the time we start that, the Bar J comes in, they bring their own spit mics and speakers and everything. Until the time we clean up and leave, we're guessing around 7.5 hours. Probably around $350. Plus the, you know, the insurance rate, they're kind of quoting me $150 to $175.
That's just for event insurance, right?
The event tickets, we've had that $20 charge for the last 6-7 years. We haven't raised that. So like I said, we wasn't gonna raise it this year. And then I guess another question I got, you know, what's are we gonna have to deal with some COVA guidelines at the fairgrounds, or what do you anticipate? Or do you think it's gonna, between now and
November?
Or November 21? You know, nobody knows, but I would like, you know, kind of a game plan if something.
Jeff Scott, you want to take this one? I mean, because we're in green right now, so there's no.
Yeah, I know, but
I visited with another gentleman about this today. With us being in green, it does open things up, and especially where we're at a facility that is a venue, it allows for more people to be there. The one thing that we do is we still ask for social distancing if possible. Now, when you're in a concert setting or a performance, it's tough to get all the chairs 6 feet apart. If you do that, you know, row and in between, you're only going to be able to seat 60 people in there. So obviously it would be set up more concert style. But what we did for the rodeo is we just asked everybody to mask up. And so we would ask the same thing. And we do have hand sanitizing stations out there. And so we would just need to, you know, have those available. And just, Jen's got some really good information and from the PRCA for their rodeos. And they've got a pretty rigorous regime that they use, and I think it would be good to follow something like that. So between the masking and the hand sanitizing, I think we'd be okay, especially over in green.
Yeah.
The only thing that could put a wrench in it, like you mentioned, is if anything comes down from the state and they kick us back to a yellow. That could put a little bit of a damper on things, but
That would actually, yes. So we must sell at least 500 tickets, and according to Jen, the venue holds about 900.
Yeah.
So social distancing as far as 6 feet would not be possible with 500 guests in the building, so.
in that time of the year, you don't want to have it in the rodeo arena.
Well,
Because it was cold enough for the last concert.
we actually
so-
had planned at one time to have an outdoor concert like we originally started 14 years ago,
Yeah.
but we just decided that it was too cold
Yeah.
in October
Well,
the 20th.
and even in expanded yellow, we still had, the fair and the rodeo, so even in expanded yellow, we still had, 5,000 to 5,500 people there, so I would imagine if anything does change, it'd take us back to an expanded yellow, and we still should be okay, so.
So our ticketing broker that we go through, they have a pretty liberal refund policy because of COVID. So if something comes up, and yes, we do have to have restrictions because we're moving backwards instead of forward.
It'd be a good idea to just print it on the tickets too, that says, if you're not well, stay home, wear a mask, blah, 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 if you're at risk.
Steve, do you have any questions or concerns on this at all?
No, I think anybody that uses the fairgrounds signs the fairgrounds use agreement. Jan probably talked about that with you, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
What have we done for other, that come in and use it for nonprofit? Are we able to just waive the fee, or what have we been doing?
I think typically it's been waived with the exception of staff. If we've had to have a staff person there, there's been a small amount just to take care of that person's wage, I think has been fairly typical.
Okay. So, yeah, I would make a motion that we do that and then see if Jan has to have somebody there, and if we have to have somebody there, then we'll just pay the wage of there. And then just get a hold of me and,
She told me that she didn't have the crew to set up the chairs, that would be our kind of responsibility. She would be there to supervise,
Right.
but as far as hands
Yeah.
doing, setting the stuff up, we'll have to bring in that portable stage for them to be on up off the floor.
okay,
And so,
yeah, let me know, and I'll come help. Set chairs
I
up.
figured I'd have you there, since then you can go see the show.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and
Yeah, that fits these hands right here.
That's fine, it's fine.
yeah, what was I going to say?
Sorry. If
I can't
anybody
remember.
hasn't seen the Sunday, are they gonna do the Sunday part of it, or is
A
it
what?
just the Sunday part of it?
No, unless you want to help pay for a Sunday.
Wow. If anybody hasn't seen their Sunday part, then that's pretty amazing to listen to.
Yeah, we held us 2 different times. We held their inspiration show, and we had a lot of
Yeah,
well,
attended stuff, and it was amazing.
how well they did it and how well they enjoyed that Sunday service. So.
Yeah.
So
But it would
you're,
be another, where there's already set up, if we didn't have to take down, they would give us a little better rate, but, they're staying over Saturday night anyway.
Yeah.
so the recipient on this one, did you say it was the Madsen Foundation? So this is scholarships for
It's
the high school?
scholarships for the
Okay,
seniors graduating next spring.
great.
And he does it for both high schools?
Yes, it's Box Elder
Yeah.
and Bearber, so.
Do you want to restate your motion to
Awesome.
clarify what is involved there?
I'll make a motion that we waive the normal fee
Greg.
and just add if they happen to have somebody there that night, and basically their wages for that night if somebody else has to be there.
Yeah.
Pay for the county employee.
Yeah, for the county employee.
I would second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there another thing, is there something that the county have a website that they would help?
Oh, yeah.
Put this out on,
Yeah.
now, because usually takes Scott and I all summer doing this.
Talk to Chrissy and
Talk to Chrissy and them as
Joe
well.
Hammer.
We're gonna be on a short time frame.
Help get it out there for
And
us.
they'll,
If you
Yeah.
talk to Joan, she'll generally connect with Monica at the chamber. And they can put it out in their newsletter as well.
and Scott just tag me in the post, and I'll share it on mine.
So
Okay?
Okay.
All right,
Awesome.
sounds good.
Appreciate you
We'll
guys.
see you there.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming in.
Hope to see you at the show. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'll be
It's
there
a
doing
good one.
chairs.
It's a good one
I'll
this
be
year.
doing there doing
November
chairs.
21st.
It takes us 9 to 10 months to put this together, not 30 days. Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Looks like we're up to Aldrich and Associates.
Hello.
You're up. How you doing? Just state your name for the record, please.
I'm Kayla Cornwell with Ulrich and Associates, here to present the audit report this year. So this is for December 31st, 2019. And I believe you all have a copy that Tom provided for you. So, first couple pages are just our report. This year we're issuing a clean opinion, so we didn't have any material misstatements or deficiencies or anything of that nature that we needed to report. And so we'll dig in starting on page 12.
You're gonna have to move that microphone closer to your mask. Sorry, it's muffled.
that better?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Okay, so we're gonna dig in on page 12 then. All right, what we're looking at here is the balance sheet for your governmental funds. So that's your general fund, special revenue, and capital projects. And this is just kind of a snapshot in time as of the end of the year of the county's position in their assets, liabilities, and what fund balance you had rolling into next year. So I kind of just want to highlight a few things on this page. First, in the general fund column, you're in a good, strong cash position at the end of the year. And then I want to draw your attention to the third line from the bottom. This is your unassigned fund balance, meaning it isn't restricted for, specific taxes or anything like that. It's free to use at your discretion. But the state does monitor this general fund balance. They put a cap on how much you can keep in there from year to year. Can't exceed more than half of your revenues. So your maximum amount for the year would have been right around 8 million, and you're at 6.8, so you're at a good level. You're not, too close to that, and you have well more than the minimum. So everything's positive there. Then the other thing that we look at is to make sure that each fund is maintaining a positive fund balance at the end of the year. This would be your second line from the bottom. And we just had one exception to that this year in your tourism fund. This was something you had planned for with your improvements and everything going on at the fairground, that you did spend more than you had in there, so you took a loan from your general fund, moved it over to your tourism fund. But just want to point that out and make you aware of that. Everything else looks good. We've got a positive fund balance in all of the other funds for the year. So I'll have you turn 2 pages over to page 14. And here we're looking at all of the revenues and expenses for those same funds for the year. The third line from the bottom will give you kind of the net change for the year. And, we kind of had some funds that increased their fund balance for the year, some funds where you used a little bit of your savings for that year. So you can kind of look across there, see where you were at. Biggest one, again, was in the tourism fund. We pulled a good chunk out of the savings in that fund for all of the improvements at the fairground. But all the other funds, very much in line with prior years or in line with your budget, things that you had planned to do for the year. So nothing concerning or alarming there. Have you turned 2 pages more to page 16? Here we're focusing on the general fund, looking at the revenues and expenditures and how they compare to your budgeted amounts for the year. So on the revenue side, you came in a little bit over budget, brought in about $800,000 more than you had anticipated. And then for the expenditures, a few departments here and there spent a little bit more, but overall, you were under budget, came in about $690,000 less than you had expected to. So all positive things there for the general fund. As you turn through the next several pages, you'll see similar reports for your special revenue type funds, and all kind of in a similar balance. You brought in a little bit more revenue than you'd planned, and you spent either right at what you'd expected or a little bit less. So all of your budgets came through at the end of the year in a positive position. I'll have you turn to page 20, and we'll take a look at your enterprise, or kind of more your business type funds. So this is your municipal building authority. This is the balance sheet, so same as we looked at for governmental, we've got a snapshot of where assets and liabilities were at the end of the year. Again, a strong cash position, strong positive fund balance for the end of the year, and no restrictions or any limits that the state sets on this fund. You turn the page over, you'll see the revenue and expenditure activity for the year. Your third line from the bottom shows a net change of just under 400,000. This is one we always want to see a positive change in the fund balance here, because that means you're charging enough to cover the services. You know, this fund's designed to run like a business.
Right.
So we watch that each year, and no indication here that you're not charging enough to cover your costs. All right, the kind of bulk of the middle of the report is all the notes. I'm not going to go through those in a whole lot of detail. I will have you turn to page 29, and we'll just highlight a couple of things in this section. So the bottom half of the page, we have the capital assets for the county for the year. And I just like to highlight that additions column shows some of those bigger expenditures that you have for the year. So that 2.2 million in construction in progress, that's the fairgrounds. Since it wasn't complete at the end of the year, we're still showing that in progress, and then we'll start depreciating it and everything next year. Some of your other larger capital assets, we had the addition to the DMV that we added in, then just several vehicles and machinery, trucks, different things that were purchased throughout the year. Now, if you turn over, page 30 shows your business activities for your capital assets there. Nothing too large or anything that was added in that fund for the year. All right, and then I'll have you turn to page 35. Last thing I want to highlight in the notes section. This is where we would report your long-term debt. Since you paid everything off the year before for bonds, we don't have anything there that we have to report. So that's always nice to see. I don't do a whole lot of municipalities where this is the case. So the only item we show here are compensated absences, you know, employees, accrued sick leave, and things of that nature that shows here. And we'll finish on pages 44 and 45. We saw the totals for these funds up front, but I just wanted you to know that the detail is back here for your library and your justice court. Once again, we have positive cash positions at the end of the year and fund balances. Both funds finished at a strong net position for the year, added to your savings going forward there. And so if you have any questions, I can go over anything you would like in more detail, but that's a quick overview of everything for you.
I only had one question. Just in the note that was sent to our county auditor, it said, we noted that there are many departments within the general fund that had expenditures for the year exceeding the amounts appropriated in the budget.
Correct.
Typically, when that happens, we'll open the budget and make any changes if there's been an extraordinary thing that's taken place. Were those typically just line items? Because we might have something where there was a line item that's 1,000 and they spend 8,000, but then they're 20,000 under in another area. Were these just line items within departments?
So if you go to page 16 on the report, you can see it's entire departments within that general fund. So the attorney department, auditor department, corrections, dispatch. So if you look that far right column on page 16, the ones that have negative numbers,
Gotcha.
those are going to be your departments that were over.
Okay.
And if they're over by more than 5% of your total expenditures, then that's something we have to report in here at the back to the state. None of them were over by that amount, so that's why we wrote it in the letter to you, but not something that we have to report to the state.
Awesome. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And we typically, I just wanted to make sure, we'll typically do that just one time, just open it up and just
That's pretty typical.
fix it, so, okay.
Yep. Yep.
No, that's the only question I had.
Okay.
You guys are thorough, you've done an excellent job in speaking with Tom and different folks and correspondence that I've had. you guys have been good to work with, so we appreciate it.
And well, Tom and his, department here are wonderful to work with, very responsive, and I know you're going out to bid, which is, typical procedure, but we'll definitely be submitting a proposal and would, love the opportunity to continue to work with you, so.
We appreciate it, and
Yeah.
we appreciate all the staff and everybody else that's been able to get these things done, so. It's been another good year, even though it's been another
Even though
crappy
it's been
year.
quite a year, yeah, that's for sure.
No,
Not
we
typical.
Appreciate you coming and bringing the information, and again, we've got a great auditor and great staff there that do a good job, so
Yep, you do, for sure.
appreciative of them.
We appreciate Mr. Cotter balancing the checkbook.
Nate does that.
We appreciate Nate doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, how's that?
There we go.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey.
Drive safe.
Thank you
Yep,
for coming up.
thank you.
Hey, thanks again.
Okay, looks like Cody, you're up, you and Tom.
So what I am here for is just as we're getting ready for the budget for 2021, as we're getting it prepared, there is a major issue that will affect department budgets throughout the county that I just need a clarification on. Cody has presented to the commissioners and department heads a new policy for the county dealing with the facilities management department. The policy would create a new facilities department. In that, Cody would be over the facilities department. We would go out and we would actually hire a new employee to come help us. We would retain Tyson and Kirk in the buildings inspections. They would also help with facilities, and those facilities employees we have at different locations, like down at the corrections down there. They would also be under Cody, but also those ones would be treated different with the sheriff, relationship with the sheriff and the building down there. But how it would work is if this department is created, it'd be very much like IT is currently treated. We would pull those facility budgets out of those departments and put them into a centralized location. And so that's the part that I need clarification on as I build the budget is, do we pull those out? Do we put them into this centralized department? And then also, we have been working with a software vendor who does our IT help desk. They also have a facilities type help desk service work order module available. So we've sat with them, looked through different things. It allows, it's significant. They said they would recommend a centralized facilities group in their experience with different municipalities, school districts, different clients they have. They have found that a centralized facilities seems to work much better. They see more and more people are going to that model because of the savings involved, that there is a savings there. But with that, I guess really, and also the big part about the software that we were looking at is they would come in and they would perform an assessment of our facilities. We would know where we stand currently. They would be able to build out a preventative maintenance program for us. They would track, hey, we have all these different air handlers, different HVAC units. What is their replacement schedule looking like? How much money have we already spent on this thing? Is it better to get rid of, are we spending more money on a newer asset than we are an older asset? It gives us a whole lot of tools to use. And so I think, the facility policy, it's pretty brief, but it's pretty hard. Like it states, responsibilities of the facilities management department include all activities necessary to operate, maintain, and provide services for county buildings, mechanical equipment, and utilities to keep them in good operating condition. All of these services are provided to all county departments. Activities which are classified as facilities management, maintenance, and services are performed by the facilities management department. These activities include building operational maintenance, custodial servicing, refuse removal, and recycling, utilities, services, and distribution and other services. No department will provide for any of these services without prior approval and coordination with the Office of Facilities Management Department. Then we had a similar section regarding construction of assets and renovation of assets. As you all are very aware, the county is bringing on more and more buildings. We have the new fire station. We are now looking at another building. And we need to, in my opinion, we need to have someone over those. Have a central location so the people just aren't doing random things and doing things that we don't know about until it causes us a problem, potentially. So really, that's all it is. I mean, I just need clarification as we develop the budget.
And I think it's a great idea. We'd have to work out some of the smaller stuff, like there's no sense in somebody trying to change a light bulb down at the sheriff's department if, they got somebody capable to do it and that type of thing, but work out some of those, those.
Well, and I think the tracking numbers, I mean, we're doing that down at the road sheds right now with tracking, being able to see what's going on and where the parts are, and it just makes sense, but honestly don't know about a new, like a director type thing. I don't think we need any more. I'd love to see you still be a part of it, but I'd also like to, for now, just see it come underneath you and Scott and not have an entirely new.
My worry
Part
with
of
that is with everything he's got going on, would he be able to take this on?
Well, but it's the same. He's said it's the same as that. We're just creating a new.
What it will
Department
help
head.
is it'll clarify job duties is what it's going to do. Right now, when I have a CIP project, I can't work like a sheriff does a project and he wants to facilitate something. He has the overriding control of that. He can determine what needs to be done. I'm not a department head I'm not saying I'm above him. I'm not equal to him, but he can run the budget and he can say yes and he can say no. So what happens if a contractor comes in and says, I want to do this, he can approve that and override my budget. So I'm just looking for a clarification so that something like that in the future.
Well, if it comes in over a different
But-
part of the budget, it still has to come through us.
Well, it comes through his. Well, what I look at, I'm just trying to keep my budget together. So when I propose something, when I build something that at the end of the day, you guys, why are we 100,000 over on this budget? I want to be able to say those aspects. So I'm just looking for a clarification of duties, a clarification of what's happening. It's not more than what I'm doing right now. It's just actually clearing things up, making things more determined so everybody knows where they sit. That's all it is.
I kind of envisioned it the way that Tom initially explained it, that it would be similar to the way that IT functions, because that used to be by department. So each department had their own IT budget and expenditures. And once it was centralized, it allowed things to be bought in bulk and our IT directors to make those decisions saying, hey, that's just not going to work with the rest of the system, so why do we buy it? And now you would have that ability and say, okay, we've got all this preventative maintenance that needs to be done. We have to have this stuff, stocked up and supplies to take care of the building's needs. And all of that would be cleared through you. And so all of the individual line items in the budget would just get consolidated into its own new facilities management budget line, and that would fall under you. And then if any department or elected official needed to have something done, it would go through that. And, there would be a budget, and that would be the budgeted amount. And if it went over, just like, Kayla just said just a minute ago, hey, it went over because it was on that line. So.
And I really want to just mirror what the sheriff's doing over there. They've got a facility department. They have two gentlemen over there that do a great job. They know exactly what they're doing. But what happens is that it'll allow us to utilize them on other aspects, but then it'll also allow us to come in and help them. It creates that department. And it will streamline things. During the meeting today with this facilities department, we have, over 400,000 square feet of building. And there's not one person directly over all of it. We have multiple people. So this is just something to streamline that, to clean it up, to just help do what the county needs to be done to preserve taxpayers' dollars and preserve and do it efficiently. Because the sheriff needs to just be the sheriff, the road department guy, he needs to just be the road department and let them do their jobs and back off these things and let someone come in and move that.
So you're saying it's okay to do a new director's?
Well, what it would be, from what I understand, it would be a new facilities maintenance guy, and he would report to you, and then this would still fall under community development.
The way the policy is written.
No.
It creates a new
one.
department?
Yeah, department.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand why we would put it underneath community development. This has nothing to do with what Scott's job is. I mean, Scott's job is community development, not maintenance of county facilities.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about it from that standpoint. I mean, I know that we've talked about, this new facilities manager, and he would report to Cody, but, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how we, I mean, I like the idea, we just gotta figure out, okay, how are we gonna pay for it then? As far as the
Is there enough in that? When you
department,
start taking
Yeah.
things about like IT, is there enough in those departments to basically do that and cover it? Or we gotta come up with, and how much more is this company gonna come in and go through everything? What are they gonna
We're
charge us?
actually using them right now.
I know, but how much are they gonna charge to come in and do this?
Right. To start it up, they gave us some prelim numbers to get the base going so we can start this program. I think the cost, what was it that they?
The assessment was $50,000.
So that's to come in and go to all the buildings, look at all the air handlers, look at everything so I can start my maintenance program that way. So that's something that will start from day one so that we can plan out 5-10 years to fix long-term projections, air handlers, boilers, things like that. So to create a new department, it's basically the same. There's all it would be is a new employee, that facility that specializes. He just does that. It's no more.
so we're pulling the funds from the other departments that normally we'd have it allocated there, right?
So, I mean, your funding would have to come from, so this funding would reside within the general fund.
Okay,
Cody's
Okay.
inspection, they reside in the municipal service fund. But, so so like the fairgrounds has a building budget. Bill, he has some that he puts in for his building maintenance, the bookmobile.
so everybody has a maintenance.
Everybody has some maintenance. So what we're saying is we now pull those out, give them all into the facility management director's bucket,
Mm-hmm.
and then he oversees that. Because in the past, what has happened is we've had individuals do renovations to buildings that no one knew about. They put in phone systems that like before, we've had people put in phone systems that IT didn't know about. IT cannot service those because they haven't been trained on them. We've had people try to move into buildings that with the municipality where they're in has said, hey, this is not allowed for occupancy yet. Because there's no central person that has been overseeing this stuff. So we've had people going in and doing things like Cody mentioned, hey, let the roads guy be the road guy. He knows how to fix a road, let him do that. And so it's really trying to make sure we free up people to do what they are good at. And this hiring a new maintenance employee also frees up our inspectors to go and do those
Their
jobs.
That was my worry.
Because the
was
building is
that
not
for
slowed
you.
down. Cody and I talked this afternoon, I think we're at 241-ish in the county for single, 211 for dwellings. So I mean, that number just continues to go up. And then also you figure out we do reviews for other municipalities by us, we help there too, so.
Would-
Oh, I like, well, and like I said, I believe we need somebody like that.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
just
it's
the
not-
logistics of,
Yeah, it doesn't
How to
have
sign
anything
up.
to do with us not believing that that
Yeah.
person needs to
With-
happen, because I just went to the bathroom,
I
and looked
like
up
the
at the actual ventilator, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's been a while since that's been cleaned. So,
And
I mean,
that's exactly.
oh, I know,
Yeah,
that's what
you're
I'm saying.
exactly right.
Where are we at? Wouldn't some of this actually come from the Municipal Services Fund as well, if it's coming from the Sheriff's Department, because they operate on both sides?
So majority of the sheriff stuff that is buildings related
Is
tied
general?
specifically to the general.
Okay, so there would be really very little, if anything, that actually comes from municipal services.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember, but
Okay. So between pulling the money in from the different entities and creating one line item with the savings we'd probably get, having it centralized with the synergy and everything there, you're going to, pay for some of those costs, and then I'm assuming it'll pay for itself or help pay for itself with the preventative maintenance and everything that's being done going forward.
Long term.
A lot of it.
yeah, that is the.
Okay. Do you guys have much experience with these assessments? I mean, 50 grand, that sounds like a pretty hefty assessment. I'm wondering how much of that could actually be done just in-house, saying, well, let's go look at it, and just contacting the vendor and saying, here's what they recommend, here's what we need to have, and just inputting it.
We negotiated today.
it was kind of like the light thing that we did, Rocky Mountain Power actually
Right.
came in and did the assessment, didn't charge us anything, and then said, if you want to use our stuff, here you go. I mean, because they never really charged us anything for the entire assessment.
We can look more into that.
That's-
Cost savings.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking for that is because this is a whole new department. We're starting from square one, and we want to make sure that, like you said, Jeff, it will do a cost saving, because we can do an analysis on some of the air handlers, some of the stuff that we're spending 30, 40, 50,000 a year for
Keep
power,
Yeah.
and we can just replace it for 20. We're going to save that money. So yeah, the upfront, we can sit down and negotiate with them a little bit more and try to get them
Okay.
those numbers down. But
You can get the mileage out of it.
yeah, I need to get that so we can, really for CIP projects and different things, to have that as a long term, so we don't get, right now, when I do a budget for my buildings and grounds, I've just been using what I've got the last few years. And sometimes we hand a bunch back, and sometimes we go over. And that's because we have so much of the unknown. I mean, 2 furnaces go down here, that's $50,000. It's just, and so.
So I think, I'm in agreement that we need the position, but I just don't know about where it falls. I don't know if we need a new department on top of everything right now. So that's just my gist. So I'd go with I'd go with the new position and know that we need it because of the things that we're doing in the future, so.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine with moving forward on the facility management director. The logistics on creating a new department, probably want to get a little bit more info on that. So, Cody, you'd be the department head, and you'd basically have kind of 2 separate divisions. One would be facility management, the other one would be building inspections.
Correct.
Okay.
Which is basically what I'm doing right now. It's not.
I mean, it's only been a recent change where inspections and buildings and grounds have been under Scott Lyons Community Development.
Right.
Before that, they were a separate entity. They were a separate department. That's how it functioned until
0809.
when Tom Peterson left. And then it was brought under Scott Lyons,
Okay.
I believe.
And with all the CIP projects that you're doing, that new person is really going to help open up more time so I can.
And that was my only concern, is having somebody else underneath you that's coming to you, that, if you're already doing that work, then I don't see that as a problem.
Yeah, this person that I bring in, I want him to be the head maintenance guy. He's going to be the work orders they come in. He's going to be the guy that fix everything. He's going to be the guy, the first man out.
And he answers to you.
And he answers to me.
Okay.
I did really like the job description, looking for somebody with the emphasis in electrical, because we've already got plumbing, and so I thought that was an excellent recommendation and decision to go that direction.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that's right. So Kirk does all the plumbing and mechanical. Tyson does all the building, and I just mess everything else up.
the Dilbert principle.
So hammer doesn't fix it, it's electrical.
So what are you needing then? And
You just need us to tell you to go forward with the position for funding?
Yeah, just more or less is of how you want it built into the budget. So I'm
I
not
think
left.
that, like you said, like IT,
hold the maintenance, yeah.
yeah, let's do everything we're doing like we did with IT.
Perfect.
What would we need to do for the remainder of the year? Because if this takes place before the end of 2020, obviously it's going to tweak some budgets.
We're going forward with it just coming in on January 1.
Okay. All right.
And I hate to keep using IT as an example since,
Yeah, the more we talked about it, I'd probably have, less heartburn going that route. Separating those out, because I don't know that Marcus and Scott are out doing too many inspections or supervising too many building projects.
Marcus orders all the toilet paper currently. He hasn't, he doesn't know.
You'll go appreciated. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I say we move, that would be my recommendation.
And a lot
is we
of
move
it
forward on
is, we
this.
just say, just so you know where we're going with things. But that's it. A lot of this too ties in with the Dude Solutions. They also have a product that we're looking at that they actually met with today with Jan and Jordan at the fairgrounds, an event scheduler type product that hopefully will tie in nicely. It will tie in nicely with this product we're looking at here. So when there is an event that takes place, like the one that Mr. Munns was talking about, that will then kick off a work order down into Cody's system, letting them know, hey, there's an activity taking place. This is the setup that is needed. This is the equipment they've requested.
Sorry,
It will also kick off a work order down to Keith, so he knows, hey, you need to have the doors open at this time. They're also requesting audio-visual equipment or whatever it is, so everyone is now on the same page and we're all we're talking.
Yeah, I like it, so, okay, yeah, move forward with it.
We're taking way too much Marcus this time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, Marcus, you're up. Tom said you didn't need this time.
So the first one is Dennis Nelson subdivision phase 2. It's just a one-lot subdivision on 3200 West, about 4836 north of Corinne area. It's been through all the whole review process, and all the different departments have approved their sections, so it comes recommended for approval for you guys.
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we approve the Dennis Nelson subdivision.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Want to sign it now, or?
skipping our,
You want to go through everything and then they'll sign up?
John, you want to go through everything and then we'll sign at the end?
Sorry,
Yes.
Chair, I outstepped my boundaries.
That's okay. You're just warming up for next year.
So the next one is ordinance 520. This one would be, it's a text amendment to our land use code, chapter 2-2-040. And the planning commission asked us to bring this to them, which we did, and held a public hearing on September 17th. We've had one or two issues with applications being open for extended periods of time. The last one, as you know, took about 6 years, just over 6 years to finish. So this proposal would change our code and add in an expiration of application, which says if within 2 years after an application has been filed, the application has not been approved or denied by the decision-making body, the application shall expire and any vested rights accrued thereunder shall terminate. We feel that 2 years is ample time for an application to go through and have a decision made on it. At this point, the things, if you do so choose to approve this, let's see, you would be finding and determining that the proposed text is in conformity with the general plan, that the uses allowed by the proposed change are harmonious with the overall character of the existing development in the vicinity of the property, and that it will not adversely affect adjacent properties, and that the facilities and services intended to serve the property are adequate and will provide for the health, safety, and general welfare of the public and protect the environment.
I'd have to agree with this because I kind of think about some things that could go on, and within a 6 year period of time, the whole landscape could change, and then all of a sudden you come back to this thing that was still in the queue and,
Right.
yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what precipitated this. It was a pretty robust discussion with the planning commission, and there were general plan changes that happened. And so if you have something that was done under the old, that's still where it's at, and the findings have to be based on that. And so, no, I think this is a great move forward.
And I guess to add a little bit, this isn't just for that one that took 6 years. We do
Yeah.
have one that's
There's-
outstanding still right now that's
Mhm.
coming up on a 2-year mark, so. But,
Okay.
which, this wouldn't affect that one either. 'cause
It
they're
just
already
cleans
passed.
things up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it prevent that from happening.
I like
on the road.
this.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I'd make a motion we approve ordinance 520 text amendment.
I'd second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, so the next one, ordinance 519, this is a road vacate, which you guys have already held a public hearing on. This one went to the planning commission on June 18th, and they recommended approval of it. This one, it just went through the process. We had the 4 consecutive weeks that we noticed it, and did all the other things. The public hearing was held September 16th, and now that it's been held, the policy states that we can now bring an ordinance to you, so that's what this is for.
This was one in the Portage area.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'd make a motion that we approve ordinance number 519, the Allen Road vacation.
Second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so this last item, the Corridor Preservation Fund, is 2 different applications for Perry City for the same project. One of them, the first one is a corridor preservation that they were granted, and they actually came under, I think they were granted about 23,000 something, but they came under that and only spent 16,109 for the acquisition. And then they were granted, I can't remember exactly how much, but the construction came in at 96,000, which I think was still under what they were granted.
It
Anyway,
was.
so they've come in for reimbursement on those.
Do you have the project number?
Yeah, the first one for the acquisition is CPF 17-03, and the construction is CPF 18-05.
Yeah, we just got the info on those. Had a chance to read through those this morning, so.
I'll make a motion we approve the Corridor Preservation Fund reimbursements for the 2 projects that you just quoted, that I didn't write down
For Perry City,
for Perry City.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I'm gonna sign that.
Hey, tell Scott when he comes back, I think I'd like to see an accounting of how much we've actually spent in the Corridor Preservation Fund since we've had it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see where we're at and current balance
Yeah.
and what the flow is.
Do you want
I
to write that? What are you looking for?
would bet
Regular pen?
that the flow has been substantial over the last 6 months
Yeah.
because it's primarily funded with registrations, and there's been a lot of registrations over the last 6
Yeah,
months.
so I was just gonna say, I wonder what we're at, because it's usually about 600 to 700,000.
Yeah, 650 to 700.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't end up between 8 and 9 this year.
because everybody's actually coming in
Oh.
and registering stuff.
We contributed, so.
That way they're ready. Since we got 30 minutes behind. It's all right. I'm sure you didn't have anything else to do tonight, right?
The same as these,
No.
right?
Can you break from reading?
Oh, these PAs? Oh, no, that's the warrant register. Gotcha.
Did you have any employee stuff with you to sign today?
Oh, what?
PAs, personnel authorizations?
You can just hand them to me, we'll get started.
This Dan's gonna multitask.
Yeah, except for somebody stole my pen. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Hey,
Thanks,
Diane.
Marcus.
Okay, so we just want to talk about repurposing the money that was for the employee.
You gotta grab
Yeah,
that
you gotta
mic.
pull the mic up. We can't hear you.
Nobody can hear you, sorry.
So we just want to talk about repurposing the money allocated for the employee appreciation. We usually do the county party every summer, but where coronavirus kind of put a damper on everything, we would like to kind of just allocate it to the different departments. Some of the ideas that they were coming up with were like giving the employees a basket, an appreciation basket. Someone else mentioned bringing lunch in for the employees. Trying to think of everything else. Like a movie basket for the employee and their families, and put a game in it for the families and stuff like that. What were some other ones? Can you think of? Oh, also jackets for the employees with the county logo on it.
I was wondering about the birthday stuff. Do you think it'd be appropriate to give them a gift card to a local restaurant just for their birthdays?
Yeah, we'd have to check with Jenica. The one problem that we've had with that is
Right.
we'd have to talk with Jenica. Some of these things kick off a tax
Taxable, yeah.
liability.
Yep.
And so if it's a certificate for something specific, like a turkey or something like that, it doesn't.
That's what I'm
And
just
so-
saying.
we'd have to
They
check.
have different lists too that you can look at.
Yeah.
So-
It's like I mentioned in our benefits meeting. Well, this didn't come up specifically, but if it's revenue neutral, it's already in the budget.
Yep.
And so my suggestion would be to let each department decide
Decide.
what they want to do. They just
Yep.
have an allotment, and whatever floats the boat of the most employees in that department, they run with it. Because you may have one department that says, yeah, you just grab some lunch. And somebody else will say, well, we'd kind of like to have that movie basket.
Right.
And so it can be individualized. That would be my thought.
I think it's a good idea.
And
I
that's
hate,
kind of what
I hate it when it
we're
reads my mind.
Yeah.
It's a short story.
I would make that as an emotion that we allow each department to decide what they do with their specific
Allotment.
amount
Okay.
on that. Because it was already there, and I mean, it's unfortunate because I enjoy that, and I think the employees really do. We missed that in June.
Mhm.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Okay.
Is that it? You stayed here?
And then
No, one more.
policy 9.
Policy 9-2 for the benefits committee. Which department is it?
Community development.
Thank you. Would like to add an employee onto that. They feel like it would be beneficial for them to have them added and have more representation so that they're getting all the information sent back to them. The policy states right now that we have a total of 19 with the 3 HR or 13 with the total of the 3 HR in there, so we just want to increase it to one more and make it 14.
Is that the one that you can't have a department head?
No,
So that's the other one.
it is the other one.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. We approve policy 9 change.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Looks like we're on to Sheriff.
Actually,
Sheriff Potter here for
It's
Bill.
actually Bill. Yeah.
Actually, Bill's.
Bill Gilson, but Sheriff's.
Sheriff's not pushing this one.
Yeah, so we're here because we had the situation with Manaway closing off the snowmobile parking lot, and you have to be a Manaway citizen now to park on the streets. They're writing tickets. We knew this was going to push the parking issue up on Willow Peak Road. We were looking for solutions. I think the long-term solution Bill's working on is ways to widen the road and get a big turnaround in there. But the problem is, even with the best case scenarios, that could ways down the road, if not years down the road. I think Bill had the idea of if we had a way to give tickets or tow vehicles on there, it might help with the problems that come up. So he drafted a memo, and I agree that that's a good tool in our toolbox. Although I think that there's some things that I worry about. For example, if snowmobile, first snow of the year, and a truck goes up there and parks in the snow and goes on the mountain and it's blocking the snow plow, if we tow it,
What do they come back to?
yeah, when they come down off the mountain cold and tired and there's
Yeah.
no truck, and, you know, not all of them keep their cell phone on their snowmobile. Sometimes it may be in the truck, you know, what do you expect them to do, drive into town, you know? It's not like a deputy can sit there for hours and hours, you know, some people go clear into the night on their snowmobile.
And then you'd have search and rescue out. Yeah.
Yep, and if, the other problem with that is a tow, because what involves a truck and a trailer.
You gotta
a
have
tow-
two.
We now have 2 tow trucks, so
And
that
two-
is a,
and two
that is a
expenses.
$2,000 bill, tow bill for a parking violation.
Yep.
Just not counting the actual ticket, if they got a ticket as well, so. I mean, I have some, you know, I would steer away from that as a last case scenario.
So there's and I asked Bill this when we were talking today, and I said, haven't you got some sort of ordinance already for snow removal? And so he actually just sent that out to us right before. So
I think it's from 2004, so
we
it's been there
basically
for a
have
while.
this already in place. And so, you know, I think if we just went and put some signs up that says we encourage to try not to park to the sides of the roads, you know, because Manaway, it's gonna get ugly.
It's already in place, but if you read that, it only applies during a snowstorm.
Yeah.
You may
Well,
have a lot of snow.
48 hours?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you may,
48 hours.
and then you'll have, I think the other issue is gonna be all these cars lined up and down the road and nobody can even get by them. If there hasn't been a snowstorm for a couple days, it's not gonna help
Yep.
that.
We did talk to Sittler representatives, and things are moving forward probably faster than what we thought. And I actually asked him if it would be okay, and he's gonna plan with the Forest Service to maybe go up to Docks Flats and actually not only widen the road, but actually get us a place to maybe start pulling off in the wintertime when it freezes. And I said that we would take a look at that and talk about that tonight also until we got a permanent solution. I still have a hard time believing that that's not, it's the same way with the fence we were talking about today, since it's been used publicly for the last 30 years, 40 years, that's not already a public use. So I guess that's up to the brains of the outfit.
And theoretically, you could have a prescriptive right a public prescriptive right to use that parking lot. That hasn't been looked at yet, but that would
Yeah.
make things adversarial between the county and Manaway, I'm sure.
Well,
Well, the problem you're gonna have too, if you try and park everybody up by Doc's Flat or have some area up there, is there's that steep turn up there. Even if you're plowing that, how are they gonna get their truck up the hill so they can unload?
Well, and this
You'll have
probably
people
isn't just a
stuck.
winter problem either, is it? I mean, you got.
yeah, it's gonna be.
Four-wheelers, motorcycles,
It's all year round, but I can see it getting
side-by-sides
worse in
now.
winter.
I'm concerned. I talked to Mayor Vincent the other day, and he's very concerned about it. You know, being able to go up there and park next to wherever, however, next to the, you know, up to the pond, and, you know, the church is gonna be inundated with people parking all the time, so
Yeah.
there's gotta be a better solution, and we've all gotta get together to get it, and it's just not up to us, I don't think. You know, I think Manaway needs to be involved in that too. It's
Well, if
not-
something doesn't happen, you'll have all of those residents that live over there on this side of the road that are gonna be impacted. Because people will start pulling into their driveways, or if they do get stranded, or if they get tickets, or if they get towed, that's where they're gonna go. And I've already heard from a few of them, they're pretty nervous because where are they gonna park? How are they gonna get out?
Yeah, and I think it's something that needs to be addressed, so.
I wouldn't take any action. My suggestion is let's not take any action on this specific
Yeah.
thing. Let's have some more discussions. Bill's not even here to give his side.
Yeah.
It may be something we want to come back to down the road, but I think we still gotta have to talk about some more good ideas.
Exactly, and
I
I
would
think,
agree with that. And if we do come to doing an ordinance, you probably don't have a public hearing before you pass. There's a
exactly.
lot of steps that need to be
Yeah.
gone through before we get to the ordinance.
From a water standpoint, I hope we have a snow problem. So,
Honestly, to get up to Doc's Flat there, you're not gonna get up there with a truck.
You're
No.
gonna have to have patrol.
That was my
Yeah.
point. It's
You're
like,
gonna have to
you're
have
not gonna
patrol
get it
to
up
get
there.
up to Doc's Flat to open that road all the way up there. And if you have a significant snowstorm, I'm not sure you're gonna
I don't
be able
think
to
you-
patrol either.
Well, you know, and we already have signs that we shut things down, limited access, and we might actually have to start doing that right at the beginning of Manaway, right off the state highway, just that says
Well, that's one
there
of
is
the,
No maintenance.
no maintenance, no public access, no parking, you know, be in front of that, and people are gonna,
Yeah.
in the church, they might have to have their PM group put up signs similar to what there is on the stake center over by the high school. They're fine with people parking there during the day, just no overnight parking, because there's a lot of kids that park there during school.
Yep.
But they might have to have something like that, no overnight parking, so that it doesn't turn into a
it's common,
KOA.
common
or-
sense. Wow. Instead of just shutting it down
It
and,
just makes sense, yeah.
So you want to just table this item
yeah,
then?
I'd make a motion, we table it.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Summers,
Thanks, you
second by
guys.
Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Okay. Steve,
Yeah, this is, we probably have to go into closed session to talk about things, so don't get out before you actually approve it. We can, if you want to do it now, we can, you can put it at the end, whatever you prefer.
why don't we just skip over this right now and move to the 6 o'clock item and with Stan and then
This won't
other
take
one
long.
with Jeff, so.
So because of the expenditures that happened, they had an accounting, how do we say this, Scott? They had a different way of showing the accounting to the feds through the state, which cost us about
125,000.
125 grand. And because of UAC and the things that they did, we were able to get that much money back. So moving forward, hopefully we won't have to have that problem, but we would have lost that 125 grand if we wouldn't have recognized it and had UAC be a part of this, so.
Jake helped with that, didn't he?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think they need a little more explanation.
Jake Garfield is our public lands guy for the Utah Association of Counties, and they noticed that there was some issues with the way that PILT was being kicked to us.
Through the whole state,
Yeah,
like
And-
$2.6 million.
yeah. So they went after it and said, "Hey, this isn't right." And I think there was 11 or 13 counties.
There was 15 counties
Something like
that were
that.
actually affected.
Yeah, and ours was 125,000. So UAC did a super job representing us on this one. So.
Great.
We can skip mine. What we probably need to do is sometime in the next 2 to 4 weeks, get a meeting scheduled, have Tom or Nate there, try to get somebody from Bragg, and then try to get a city administrator or the mayors here from as many of the municipalities as we can, and just coordinate on the other requests that we've had for CARES funding, and make sure that we're not duplicating. Because if any of the entities that are requesting funding get it from multiple sources, they're going to be in violation. And so some of them have just kind of thrown it into the wind, and whoever funds it, they don't care. And then if there are things that can wait, we can shift those to Bragg if it's pertinent, because they've gotten to the end of 2022 on some of theirs.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we probably ought to schedule a meeting with everybody and work through that and see where we're at.
Sounds good. Okay.
Future agenda items?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to table it today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a
I'd make a
motion.
motion we table that.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Scott, a second by Commissioner Summers. All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner who?
Who's on first?
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about it anymore, or do you want to just go into
Go
closed session?
Closed session.
Closed session.
Okay, I make a motion we go into closed session to talk about
Real estate.
real property purchase.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Summers, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Have we got a closed session? Have we got a closed session besides this?
Not that I had.
Oh, okay, because I was just going to say, because we could